We're the attachment company. My name's William. Welcome back to Week. It's the last week before Christmas. Let's go. Here, I'm William, along with my wife Laura and my brother Andrew. We run the attachment company. Now we're here in the warehouse in central Scotland. Andrew is over in Denver in the US. It's Monday afternoon here, 4:30 PM. Let me quickly run you through what's been on today. 2 orders out: tree shear, a Trevi Benny WL310 tree shear, and the big Auger Torque 35,000 max package. 2 of them left on Stuart Nickel Transport about half an hour ago. Alongside that, we've been doing a bit of a tidy up in here, just get us finished this week and ready for the new year. Been doing a load of work on all these hitch brackets. Those are the ones that I tidied up a couple of weeks ago. We've put some new shelves in. We've made a start on the bigger ones. My plan for the week is to try and get as much tidied out in here as possible. We've got some things to go back to Kinshofer, some things to go back to Auger Torque from the open day a couple of weeks ago. Hopefully there's some more sales come in, but it is what it is. It's the last week before Christmas. That's kind of it for Monday really. There's nothing too exciting happening. We did do a lot of modification to the PC55 with the NOX. If you watched last week's video, I think I went through one of the issues we had with that. Catch you up on that later in the week. But yeah, for now, that's us up to date. Thank you for clicking on this week's video. Let me show you around everything else that happens this week. Wednesday lunchtime, we are on the road. We're heading over to Eurofab in Newhouse, pick up a part for a customer set of pallet forks. I'll show you that in a minute when we go and get it. I'll show you what it's for. But yeah, never filmed a whole lot to actually the camera yesterday. We pretty much had a day of tidying up. Ollie was over with a digger, tidied up the sandstone and the sand that were in the front yard from the demo days. So good to get that read up. Stephen and I spent a good bit of time in the warehouse just tidying up specifically the hitch brackets, which I didn't quite realise how many of them we had. Putting them all, making shelves, putting them all into part number order. For multiple reasons. It means that if I need something, we know where it is. If we need to do a stock take, it's easy just to go and count them. But primarily, if Stephen or Laura need to go and pick something, it's there on the shelf in the space it's meant to be in. It just makes everything far simpler, far more streamlined, far more efficient. So as much as it took a few hours of our time, of both our time actually, definitely worthwhile doing. Finished that off again this morning. Also yesterday nipped over to the welders with a couple of brackets. I'll show you them. They should be ready today actually. I might get back over today or tomorrow, pick them up, and I'll show you what they're for. They're for a couple of orders later in the week. And this week's kind of just going to be like this, a bit of, we have some orders come in, some that we need to get out for the end of the week, some that unfortunately won't turn up in time for multiple reasons to get them back out for the end of the year, but that's what it is. We're heading to Friday and yeah, just taking what comes up otherwise, and taking the time when we're a little bit quieter just to get tidied up and organised in the warehouse as well. So enough for me, let's go on, go get this picked up, get back to the warehouse and I'll show you what it was. Right, we're back in the warehouse. The bar has been collected for the pallet forks. I'll put a picture here of the pallet forks we supplied. But these are the pallet forks we supplied, but you can see the issue with the bar that is on them. We did not supply it looking like that, I shall add, but we did supply the pallet forks brand new, and who knows what they've been doing, but they have bent the bar. So anyway, that's here ready to get picked up tomorrow. Also got a delivery in and then subsequently repacked and back out. It is 3 rotators and 3 links. That's going to the US. It's for a job of Andrew's. I'm not entirely sure what they're building rotators for, but they're building some sort of rotators for a customer over there. So hopefully they'll leave either tomorrow or Friday. There's some log splitting cones with them as well, just because they were a little bit short in stock over there. And other than that, that kind of brings us up to the end of Wednesday. Thursday morning, we're in the warehouse, 2 days left of this year, and that'll be us done. We're going on a little bit more this morning, do a little bit more tidying up and organising down this end of the workshop, or the workshop end, this end of the warehouse. There's some things in the kind of part storage I would like to just organise and make a bit better, and then make some space for the machines maybe over this end, but I'll give you the full details of that in a bit, and we'll do a rundown of the PC55 with the Tiltrotator on it. I promised you a proper look around this, so let's go. This is our Komatsu PC55MR with Kinshofer NOX Tiltrotator. This is the one we had out on the demo day, the open days a couple of weeks ago. The first ever one that we have fitted with the Prop Plus system. I will tell you in a minute what that means. It is fitted also with a top coupler, but let me run you through the full spec of the machine and more specifically of the NOX Tiltrotator setup. The first, the machine. This is a Komatsu PC55MR in what will pretty much be our standard spec here. Rubber tracks, dozer blade, as you see it, lit up as you see it, Nordic LED lights as standard, check valves on the left ram and on the top ram. And in this instance, this machine is fitted with one double acting auxiliary circuit. So other than fitting this NOX Tiltrotator and control system, this will more or less be our standard in-stock spec for the PC55. Now the PC55 is a 5.5 ton class tracked excavator, weighing in at just under 5,500 kilos before we fit the NOX, the hitch and the NOX and any extras. This is a Kinshofer NOX Tiltrotator. This is the TR7 model. I will put the spec here to show you. In this configuration we have went for what is called the sandwich setup. So it is fitted with an S40 quick hitch onto the machine, our Attachworks S40 quick coupler. That then picks up the NOX Tiltrotator and it has a matching S40 coupler on the bottom. As this was our demo machine and we were wanting to show off the machine but also the full capabilities of a NOX Tiltrotator, we have went for the optional gripper as well. But by putting this on S40 with the gripper means we can keep the weight down, one, to as little as we can within reasonably possible, and the width down. We can put this Tiltrotator on an S45 coupler, but it means we need to go to the bigger gripper and it makes the gripper stick out past the width of the NOX. And on the subject of width or narrowness in this case is the main benefit of the NOX Tiltrotator over other competitor brands that you'll see with hydraulic cylinders coming out the side that give you your tilt force. You do not get that on the NOX. There's no cylinders protruding out the side at all. In fact, the only hydraulic cylinders are the two that work the optional gripper and then one in the underside for the quick coupler, same as any other Tiltrotator on the market. Now because this machine only has one auxiliary circuit and because we wanted to show off the full capabilities of the NOX Tiltrotator, we have went for the full spec Prop Plus system. We'll put a little comparison here of the Prop Plus versus the direct feeds, the DF options. I can go into a full video on the options at a later date. I don't want to bore you with that at the moment, but I'll concentrate on the spec of what we've done here. Now what that means is two hydraulic hoses, one either side, and an electrical connector are the only things at the end of the dipper arm. Because we've opted to go for the sandwich configuration, it does mean that you can take the NOX off and then pick up your bucket for any sort of heavy digging applications or heavy lifting or things where you just don't need a Tiltrotator or you don't want it getting in the road. It's easy to drop it off, unplug the two couplings, unplug the electrics, pick up your bucket and go back to work. The added benefit being to this is if you ever have an issue with your Tiltrotator or you need to get it serviced or you have a breakdown or a leak or whatever, things happen. These are tools we're putting on the end of excavators and we're putting them in the ground to go digging. Things happen. If that is the case, it means you can take it off, pick up your bucket or your other attachments and go straight back to work. That's all well and good, and there are a couple, three maybe downsides to this setup. First one being, it does add a little bit of extra weight. If we had direct mounted this NOX, it would have saved the weight of the coupler, of the top coupler, so it would have been a little bit lighter. I think that coupler's maybe 15 kilos ish that we would have saved. We would also have saved a little bit of height. Build height being something that everybody talks about when talking about tilt rotators. Again, if we direct mounted this, we would have done away with this amount of build height, because that would have came up here and the tilt rotator would have mounted directly to the dipper of the machine. The only other potential downside, and this depends obviously on your requirements and your level of budget, is the price and the associated install. This being the top spec setup means that it also carries the top end of the price point as far as NOX tilt rotators go. It is also the most extensive install. I'll show you why in a second, which also then carries a little bit of extra cost, because there is about a 2-day, depending on the machine and the setup what we're going for, there is up to a 2-day install for something like this, which obviously carries an associated cost. However, the upsides I will show you in a minute. Also, you can use an extra function if you wanted to use, for example, a hydraulic grab underneath it. All of those are configurable. All of those you can adjust the speed, you can adjust the speed they come in and out of operation. Everything is fully customizable, even down to which roller and your joysticks works each function. Let me take you inside the cab, show you what we've done in there, and then show you what I mean. These are not the standard Komatsu joysticks, and neither is this standard either. But let's put the ignition on and I'll show you what I mean. So wait on the control panel firing up. It just runs through some checks before we can start it. There we are. So this and the joysticks are the big thing with the Prop Plus setup. So these are SFAB L8 joysticks, and this configuration, and these can be changed as well depending if you've any other sort of requirements, but there's a roller on the front and there is a roller on the back of these, and then obviously a stack of extra buttons. Fire the machine up. So in the way we've got this set at the moment, we have tilt on the right hand joystick, tilt left, tilt right, and we have rotate on the left hand joystick, rotate left, rotate right. We'll pull this in a bit and you can see it. We'll also try to do this while holding the camera. Rotate right, rotate left. If we spin that right round, we then have gripper on the rear. You can see my right hand there on the underside of this roller. Works our gripper. And if we wanted to have any extra function, a hydraulic grab or a manipulator, whatever under the NOX, that would be on the roller on the underside of this joystick. There is a load of benefits again with the control system, and I can go into these in a separate video. But if we just click in there, just one for example, lets you set a load of different tools. We've just got this set for a grading bucket at the moment, but you can see all your tool profiles, and if I click in there, I can come down and just very quickly I can adjust my tilt speed, rotate speed, and you'll see if I can try and do this with one hand. So that's us full tilt at the full rotate at the moment. If I take rotate down to 20% and go full on the roller, need to go more than 50%, you can see the difference in the speed. If I leave you there and I dial the speed up as I'm holding the roller, you can see the increase. And I am just working the machine on idle at the moment. If I was working it in full revs, she would have went on the 20%, but it doesn't on idle because I'm trying to keep the volume down just so you can hear me talk you through it. But yeah, you can add a bunch of extra stuff in here for every bucket, every attachment, whatever. Joystick assign is where it lets you configure which rollers, hopefully you can see that, which rollers do what. or which buttons do what, and there's a bunch of extra stuff in here if you so need it. And you can see there an indication as to your tilt, the amount of tilt we've got on, and the amount of rotation we've got on the bucket as well. Now, I mentioned at the start of this segment that this was the first ever Prop Plus install that we had done start to finish here in the UK at least. Andrew has done a few in the US. This is the first one here in the UK, which meant we did run into a couple of issues. Well, one major issue actually, which I'll show you just now, and it is related to these joysticks. So anybody that was here on the open day and used the machine will know what I'm talking about, but for those of you that don't, these, in fact I can show you here, these aftermarket joysticks mount on these. The stock joysticks come out, these screw in, and then that's what holds your new joystick in. Now, the problem with that is, especially on this machine, it is too short. I don't know if you can see here, but look at the angle my arm is on versus the armrest to the joystick, and it's even worse in real life. Also with the issue that it compresses the boot quite a lot around the joystick, making the joystick quite stiff to operate. The solution, and again it's why I bang on about having good local suppliers, good relationships with local engineers and craftsmen, is for things like this. But you can see the difference. We have doubled the length of the thread, and we've put that on this left hand joystick just for testing purposes, and already you can see by the way my arm's sitting, it is much nicer. The joystick moves a lot freer. If anything, it's a touch too high, it has to come down a little bit just to meet the boot, but it is much nicer. And these are just things that we're going to come across, and one of the reasons I wanted to do this when we had a bit of time and we were doing it for ourselves rather than for a customer, we can iron out these issues now. That means when we come to install it for a customer or install it on a new machine to go to a customer, that this is a smooth and easy process. So hopefully that was a bit of a detailed look around the machine and the NOX setup. If you have any technical questions, please feel free to ask me them in the comments, and I'll follow them up in future videos. There's a ton of things we can cover on spec, on size, on mounting options, control system options, price, coupler options, loads. So any questions, let me know in the comments. I'll maybe try in the new year and do a video on kind of all of the options, a dedicated standalone, but for the time being, any questions, fire away. And one last thing, another little bonus you might have noticed, our own brand Attachworks grading bucket on the underside of it as well. This is the 1200 wide bucket, the 1.2 metre grading bucket, and it pairs up nicely with the Attachworks S40 coupler as well. So there we are. Before I bore you any longer getting too technical and geeky on this stuff, hopefully that made a bit of sense. Let me know if you have any questions. 10 AM, I am, is it 10? 10:30. I am off over to the welders, pick up the brackets even that we dropped off the other day. 2 of those should be for an order this week, so let's go get them picked up and then I will show you what it's going with. Stephen's been busy getting all the buckets gathered up, with a few of them still sitting out from the open day, so they are all in order. We've also got a slight issue with one of the Ecotech tree shears. We're waiting on a blade turning up for it, and then I'll show you what we're up against on that one. Alright, I'm back with the brackets. We'll get some paint on them, they'll be good to go tomorrow. Also arrived when I was away was a replacement blade for the tree shear. As I mentioned earlier, a bit of an issue with one of the Ecotech tree shears. The issue being, well, I'll show you in a minute because Stephen is just getting it on the power pack, but you can see there's a new blade on the left, there's one of the old blades on the right, there's the other blade that's fitted on it, and it's clearly bent. We'll rig it up onto the test pack just now and we'll give it an open and close, show you the problem. But we did straighten a blade out enough a week ago to get it back to work, but somehow it went to work and they said it was still, I don't know, politics, but we'll get it rigged up. I'll show you what's going on. We'll change the blade out and then I'll show you the difference. Close it up just to show the issue. Well, open it, over it. You can see there the problem. I'll get the blade changed out and I'll show you it again here in a minute. Much better. Much better. This is done in the yard for the day. We were supposed to have a delivery of a couple of Kanjini flails coming this afternoon so we could get them out tomorrow, but needless to say, the fact that we're leaving early should tell you that we haven't had them, which is annoying. Even more annoying is I don't know whether they can get here tomorrow or not, but we'll see what happens in the morning. But anyway, I am going back to the house, going to do a couple of bits on the computer, get back to some emails, chase up some more inquiries, and then that'll pretty much be us for Thursday. Tomorrow will be a short one, be in, a couple of pallets out, we've got at least one order, maybe two to get out, and we've got that one for the US, probably to leave tomorrow as well. Other than that, that's kind of going to be it, because Laura and I are leaving tomorrow afternoon to go on our honeymoon, so it'll be a short one tomorrow, be in and out, get done what we can get done and be out. Then spend some time this afternoon sorting through a lot of the parts storage and actually making an area in the warehouse for that. I can show you it tomorrow, I'll show you it later on. In the meantime, that is us done for Thursday. The last working Friday of the year. The second last Friday of the year, but the last working Friday. We've made it. We are at the end of 2024. We'll release a video, I think, with kind of the highlights in it, and obviously we recorded the podcast a couple of weeks ago, so we won't bore you here with all the details of this year, but it has been absolutely massive. We finished off today, we're in for a few hours this morning, got a couple of orders out that I completely forgot to fill them, but it's nothing you haven't seen before from us. But on behalf of myself, Laura here in the UK, Andrew over in Denver, thank you very much for watching our videos throughout the year. It has been thoroughly appreciated. If you have any feedback on this video or any others, or anything you'd want to see for next year, leave us a comment. When you're down there, hit subscribe, hit like, all the usual stuff. That's pretty much us done for the year. We are on honeymoon from this evening, so work is officially done for 2024. Weekly videos are officially done for, this might even be 2025 you're watching this, I'm not quite sure when it's coming out. If it is, we hope you had a great Christmas and an even better New Year. If it's not, we hope you have a good Christmas and a good New Year. Yep. And we will see you in the first one back in 2025.
Have a good one, folks.
Are you?
Yep.
Check out for the year. Done.
Checking out. Done.
Done. Catch you week 1, 2025.